Good evening and welcome to this World Savings Day special coverage. It's a live forum where we are having a discussion on savings. How much do you save, if at all? And what are the challenges you face when you seek to save? And what are the insights that you seek to have? And we shall be having discussions on that tonight. I'll just introduce my panelists here. Three gentlemen who are going to be helping us delve into this whole conversation. We have Raphael Lekolol, who's the Managing Director of Postbank. Then we have, excuse me, Kenneth Odhiambo, Chief Executive Officer of Mwalimu Sacco, and David Mategwa, the Chairman of Kenya Police Sacco. Welcome, gentlemen. I'll just begin with you, sir. Maybe, there's been the running conversation around Kenyans don't have a strong savings culture. Now, for you who handle an institution that, people would ideally sometimes either saving or would interact with, are you seeing this? Is there any change? Are we seeing people beginning to save more as there's more drive towards that?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for that question. And I think it's quite important on this important day of savings, World Savings Day. Maybe just to give a history of that day, it started as a world in Milan, Italy in 1924, just to remind us of what savings is all about, what we need to do, and just to put a roadblock to ask ourselves at this point in time, what are we doing about savings? And looking at the theme for this year is Conquer Your Tomorrow Through Savings. So, coming to the question, have we seen a change in the way people are saving? When you listen to some of the numbers being talked about around the country, where Kenya is known to be at a very low of 10 to 12% to GDP of savings, we are not doing very well, and that number has not changed. So that means if that number doesn't change, then it means we still have an issue in terms of savings. Our regional partners, the countries around us, are way above 17, 20, 30%, and we are still lagging behind. So something still needs to be done to ensure that Kenyans save. So to answer that question, I would say we still have a problem, and there is this generation that needs to be talked to pick up the mantle so that they do a lot of savings. Otherwise, we'll still suffer those bad numbers, and looking at those percentages, it's not a good place to be in. The president has always reiterated the fact that we are still doing badly, and we need to step up and to improve our savings culture. So,
okay, thank you. Yourself, what have you observed in regards to this culture of savings or the lack of it thereof?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. What I would say is that with my experience, I've seen some improvement in terms of savings. People have realized that, I'm saying this because on the side of the cooperatives, the SACCOs in the country, when they came under regulations, many people now trust the SACCOs, and now they are saving more. They have confidence. If you look at my SACCO, the minimum you can contribute if you are working is 12% of whatever you are earning, just to encourage people to make sure that they continue saving. And we have seen it's 12% the minimum, but people have gone far as saving 20%, 30%, and we have seen even their deposits growing. Like now the police now, they have grown to currently to 30.6 billion money accumulated over the years. So for me, I have seen we still have more to do. We are also doing making our members, educating them on financial well-being. Like last Saturday, we had our members who are assembled in Kikanjo, where they are undergoing a promotion course. We took there an expert just to take them through financial education. And that one we have seen the results. Yeah.
Okay. What about you from the Mwalimu side?
All right, thank you. I probably want to speak to, first of all, the data that we're seeing. And one of the things that is emerging is that there have been a little bit of slowdown in terms of savings, more so if you look at the numbers. And of course, the reasons are obvious. I mean, looking at the fiscal policies that have really squeezed the savings. Of course, we've seen some bit of, a dip in terms of the savings, or rather the growth trajectory. And of course, that has been also as a result of some of the fiscal, policies that have regard to the income, disposable income that actually get into our members' pockets, and through, of course, many of our members are still on payroll. But again, we are also seeing, yes, some very little growth, which of course is not enough in terms of sustaining, the institution moving forward. Remember, savings and credit corporations start with the word savings. And that's where basically we derive resources to on lend. So what probably portends to the future in terms of that, how can we be able to sustain that model of savings and credit moving forward? That is a bigger question that we're asking ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Lekolol, back to you. And people are going through tough times economically. We are seeing the amount of money that people are taking home is reducing for many. We have the few fortunate ones. So people are wondering, we're celebrating World Savings Day, but how do I save when I hardly have enough? So how should we strike the balance? And what are the financial institutions offering that people can actually find a space to do that?
Thank you, Dan. I think during tough times, this is when the tough get going. And if you're well and disciplined enough to save during tough times, then during the happy times, you should not be having a challenge. I look at times in our country when the going was good, we still were not saving. And it's a high time now for us to get that discipline. How do you do it? Just education, education, education. And also just to inculcate that savings culture amongst the general population in Kenya. I know it's a hard thing when times are hard like this, when you hardly have enough to go around, when general cost of living really goes up. So it makes it tough for one to make that decision. What do I cut off? What do I cut off? What do I not spend on? And what do I need to spend on? And this is a time now for one to really make those tough choices. And it's a time now to say, if I can't afford this, then I can't afford, and that's it. Because there's no extra money to do that extra thing. But also, this is the time now to realize maybe you did not need those extra things. So you can easily cut them off. So when the turn comes in the economy and you have now extra money in your pockets, then you should be able to save. What the banks are doing now is, when you look at the interest rates, they've really started going up. When you look at the government paper, it's gone up. The deposit levels and rates that are being offered in the banking industry, it's gone up. In Postbank, we are offering almost up to 12%. This is basically now to make sure that we are able to attract new clients and new customers who would come to get those enhanced interest rates. So it's a way of giving some incentive for people to be able to save and to really ensure that people do not just leave those assets idle. So they bring it back into the commercial system, into the financial system. So there are those incentives. We made it easy. The cost of deposits, we really at zero. We do not charge for any deposits to your accounts. So if you have any cash, any extra funds that you have, then you can bring it and then we'll be able to save for you. So those are the kind of incentives that we push around. Mainly it's the interest rates, very attractive, and it's able to pull in new resources where maybe somebody was just keeping it idle somewhere. This is the time now to look at those attractive interest rates.
Okay. About Mategwa, I want to come to you. And one of the things that Bwana Lekolol had alluded to earlier was the young people especially. How are we attracting the young people to be more open to savings, especially because we have those who live by YOLO. You only live once, you know? Yeah. Wanasema, where am I saving? And it almost sounds like the book of Ecclesiastes, where vanity, vanity. Yeah. So how do we encourage them to see the value in saving?
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to agree with Mr. Lekolol that if you are earning 10,000 and you want to earn 100 so that you can save, I think if you are not saving the 10,000, if you are not utilizing the 10,000 you are getting, you are saving. Even if you are given 100,000 salary, you will not save. So you need just financial discipline. The young people, the only way we can, like on our side of in SACCOs, if a SACCO wants to attract young people to be members, one, you need to make sure that you embrace technology, invest heavily in technology, because they want quick, they can't fill a form, they can't wait, they can't come and visit a branch. So what they want to use everything on their phone. So if you have a robust system, then they can lock in, get the money, and they'll be paying money through the phone. That is how that generation is. And we need also, as parents, the young people, we have members of SACCOs. They are getting loans from SACCOs to take these kids to school. But they don't tell them where they're getting the money to take to school. They just go and come back and say, I've gotten the school fees. So we need also to have this story. Let them understand where the money is coming. And they must also understand that getting wealth, you need to save over time, accumulate. The small you are saving, you have capital, then you can start investing and become wealthy. It does not come overnight. You want to live to high-end areas, and yet you have just been employed. Yeah.
Okay. We'll be coming to you, Mr. Odhiambo, in just a bit. We take a short break on this discussion, but we'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to this live forum where we're talking about savings on this World Savings Day, and we've been having the conversation ongoing, and now I pick it up again with Mr. Kenneth Odhiambo, the CEO of Mwalimu Sacco. And you know, excuse me, Bwana Madegwa has actually just, Mategwa, I should say, sorry, has talked about the young people as well. And one thing that comes along with young people now is technology. You know, if you tell, even me, I'm not that young, but if you tell me to go to a banking hall, you have really punished me, you know. So how are SACCOs, Mwalimu Sacco, and even just the SACCO space, leveraging on technology to ensure they can increase the, the savings, to improve the savings culture and just have more people, saving?
Right. I think the issue of technology here is one of the tipping points as we actually open up the space for the youth within our SACCOs. And one of the emerging things is that, as you put it rightly, even me at my age, which of course is 50 plus, I've never used my ATM for 6 months. What does that tell you? That means that members or clients alike are embracing technology as a way of service to create convenience. And of course, the youth that we have more so in our membership also, pushing us towards, adopting more technology so that they can be able to, ride on the services and products that we offer. That means then, as institutions, we have to refocus our energy on what is our, what we call digital strategy. And of course, how do we, transit the services that we normally offer to a platform that create convenience, but not only creating convenience, but also creating what you call a digital trust. A digital trust here means that if I'm using my mobile phone to access my accounts in my SACCO, how safe is it for me to have the transactions delivered without someone actually coming in between and, of course, getting an attack like a cyber attack. Yeah. So that is basically the focus. And of course, as we integrate the youth within our SACCO system, the critical element that probably I'd want to point out is that you need to show them what is in it for them. They'll never understand what you're talking about if you don't demonstrate what is in it for them. And even if you talk to them about the savings, how are you integrating them within the SACCO system? Not only in the matter of savings, but also in the matter of leadership. So here we are talking about inclusivity. So we need to start seeing more youth actually being part of the leadership within the SACCO system so that they can also resonate with the SACCOs as institutions that actually promote financial inclusion.
All right. And I just want to pick up on the fact that there's the technology, the young people, etc. But one of the biggest, one key concern, which has been raised as being an impediment towards savings, is because the financial space is at times very jargonistic. Big words, it sounds complex when you tell someone government paper, treasury bonds, and that young person may not understand how that will be good for them, you know. They hear bonds and, you know, NSE 20 share index. So there's a whole wall that these people, they may have the money, but may not save it or invest it in some ways because of there's a communication barrier. So what is being done to try and you know, improve the communication, just make it easier so that we can have more people appreciating the value of savings and saving?
Thank you, Dan. I think you've hit the nail on the head. And what we've done as Postbank, because it's one of our key mandates, when you look at the mandate, apart from just providing the banking services, one of the other key things is financial training, financial literacy training. That's a key mandate for Postbank. And we do that in various ways. We put ourselves out there. We go to schools, we go to colleges, we go to universities, and we've managed to have this chart on what it means to save. And we take the students through, in those forums, we take them through budgeting, savings, what kind of instruments do they need, and we try to talk to them about savings so that they do not just go forward relying on credit. Because when you look at the credit culture in Kenya, it's really taken root. And people, if you ask even somebody on the streets how you can borrow, they'll actually tell you how easy it is to borrow. But
not to save.
Yeah, but to save, you're saying government paper, they're not really interested. But if you ask them how much interest rates these other lenders are giving, and the digital lenders that are there in this space, there are many, and they'll give you a whole range of things that they're doing in that space. So to come back to savings, why are we not doing so well? Because it's not really in our culture to really save. We've not really been brought up to appreciate savings and what it can do for us. In our forums, when we talk to the students, we tell them that savings is an alternative to taking a credit, because this is money that's available for you tomorrow. If you want to conquer your tomorrow through savings, you can. If you don't want to borrow tomorrow, save today so that tomorrow's life will be much easier for you, so that you do not take credit, which is a bit more expensive. So save today, earn this interest so that you're able to achieve your goals tomorrow. So we need to change that conversation, and also maybe put it in our curriculum. We've been lucky enough to go to institutions which have big numbers. We've been able to talk to them, National Youth Service. We've been able to engage with the youth there and talk to them about financial literacy training, and we take them through the whole spectrum of what we need, what we normally train. And we've gone to various forums where we've actually been able to articulate what they need to do in terms of savings. So it's a work in progress. We need to be able to have access to all these institutions so that we're able to pass that message. We do it as Postbank because we believe it's something that can be taught and it's something that can be acquired. So it's a journey.
Okay, and what needs to happen to make financial institutions more vibrant, strong, and resilient, so that, because there's an element of confidence, that I will feel more confident saving with you if you seem to have some might, as opposed, so that I don't want it to be, like a Shylock, or that guy who I'll give my money, and then I'll be forced to be in church praying that he appears somewhere between church and the DCI, So what needs to happen to make financial institutions to be, vibrant, stronger, and more resilient?
Financial institutions, on our side is SACCOs.
Yes, SACCOs, yes.
To make SACCOs be very strong, be stable financially, every year, and this is what we have done in the police SACCO 10 years back, that is on 2013, the core capital of police SACCO was 1.6 billion. The core capital was 1.6 billion. Currently, the core capital is 17.4 billion. That means that we have we have made a deliberate decision in the board and management that every year, before we give out the surplus, we need to do retention. Either we do 20% of the surplus or 1 billion, whichever is higher.
Okay.
And we have built over time. And we have also encouraged our members that if they move their share capital from where it was to 50, and they have realized that that is the best way to go. They have increased, some have increased even to 2 million, 5 million share capital. So that means that when people see that you have built the strong financial muscles of the institution, they have the confidence. We have seen our members pulling money from elsewhere, bringing on fixed account in the SACCO because of that confidence. The SACCO will be able to do things that members will be seeing. For example, Police SACCO has come up in health area. We have built a dispensary using the corporate social responsibility.
Yes.
We have done a school, a girls' school in Kilikil, Utumishi Girls. We have done a stadium just the other day. It was opened by His Excellency the President in February. Just using the muscle that we have. And members are still getting their services. They are still getting higher dividend returns on their investment. So that will encourage many people to have that confidence to come to and join SACCOs and save.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Wanodhiambo, just on the same thread, how should SACCOs remain, sustainable? Because there's a whole question around sustainability, TC, but also a mix of that and just to make sure that your business model is working.
Right. I think just probably to fill up from the chair, the issue of confidence is all around the financial stability of the institutions that you manage and we lead as well. And of course, he's actually rightfully touched on some of the pillars, like issues of the capital adequacy, issues of the liquidity, issues of some ratios in terms of the investments, other investments that you put to total assets. All those things sum up to financial stability. And the moment you have that financial stability, then you have the financial muscle in terms of the resources that you can be able to online. Now, moving to the issue of sustainability, I think looking at it from the perspective of how will the institutions that we are currently leading be in the next 20 to 25 years. I was having a conversation this morning with some of our stakeholders, and I was telling them that all of us in this room in 20 years will have exited the scene either on leadership or working. How do you want to see the institutions that you're managing, looking like? So the bigger issue here is that we have to integrate, what you call, the youth more strongly in terms of taking up the leadership positions and also owning up the institutions in terms of how much they're able to put within the institutions. That said then, calls for a leadership that is grounded on proper governance. And here I speak without fear of contradiction, that we must actually be very deliberate on the issue of governance so that we can build that confidence and trust. And of course, we have also to look at whether the current SACCO model, is serving its purpose, because you've seen, when I started, I talked about SACCOs are about savings first before you get credit. But now here we have a youth category that are not very keen on the first aspect, but they're more keener on the lending aspect. How do we tweak that model to be able to serve this segment of membership as we also serve the other segment that actually aged up? So in essence, just to the long and short of it, is that we must look at all those parameters that speak to sustainability in terms of the continuity of the business and also in terms of how we are able to leave institutions that are more financially stable.
Okay. And one thing that, some of the numbers show is that we are having more people, we're having more people choosing to save with SACCOs than with banks. What does this say for you as a bank? What does this say that people are opting, or do you dispute the numbers?
I would love to see those numbers. but one of the key things is, the SACCO model is a tried and tested model. It's quite easy. It's quite easy to interpret. I know if I save 3 times, I'll get, if I save 1 shilling, I'll get 3 times what I'm saving. So it's quite clear in terms of how much I'm eligible to borrow. When you go to the bank, they start asking you so many questions. What do you need this money for? You can imagine if you want to borrow $1 million or something, then you have to bring some security.
Yeah.
You know, the process is so cumbersome and very expensive and very punitive to the borrower until you realize, okay, I need to look for better ways of doing it. I know the digital lending platforms have really come in to help, and they've eased that process. When you look at the products that are digitally given, especially even in the SACCOs, it's become quite easy to run those security checks and be able to give a loan irrespective of the kind of security that is required. Those checks and balances are much easier to handle in the SACCO setting because, you know, SACCO, it's people you know, people you hang out together. If I want to take a loan, I just need to get 3 members who are my buddies who are in the SACCO. They will sign for me, and I'll be able to borrow. In the bank, it's you alone. So when they assess, there's no record or there's no history in terms of how I've been performing, then I have to build that history, and it will take some time. But in the SACCO, it's just the people who are supposed to guarantee you are people who know you. You're working together with them. They know your salary and everything. So they're easy to manage in that respect. So in a sense, I may say, yes, it's much easier to get, so it'll be much faster, and so people will actually talk to this other side if they find it much easier to get access to credit.
Okay. Yeah. We take a short break on this live forum where we shall be continuing to have ongoing, discussions about savings and insights around those some of the options of saving institutions to save with, that is SACCOs and banks. But we take a short break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to this live forum where we're talking about savings on this commemoration of the World Savings Day. And we have been having some insightful conversations here with my panelists. And before we went for the break, Bwana Lekolol has spoken about, what, he had spoken on some key matters, which I feel also now spill over to what I would want to bring to you. And there's an aspect of governance, which again, Mr. Odhiambo had also alluded to, and the likes, How do you ensure that your institution, your SACCO, is not infiltrated by corrupt dealings? One, internally, in regards to, the governance of the institution. Then at times we find that financial institutions are part of, at times they are collaborators or they are collateral damage when we have somebody who is trying to either clean money or do some dirty dealings. How do you shield yourselves from that?
Thank you. We have policies in place that make sure that, like money laundering, any staff that is a teller, they have been trained to understand at what stage, what should they do when money is brought to the SACCO. They know how to handle about it. On governance, we make sure we build capacity of the people who have been elected at the board. We make sure that we take them for corporate governance training. Everyone who has joined the board has to undergo that training. If we are, including the management, the CEO and other general managers, they have to undergo that institution, what do we call it, Center for Cooperative Institution. We train them, and that we keep on also sending them on training that deals with the governance, because we have seen what people are being taught, they are not practicing that. So when you go for that training, we need to see a change in the way you have been handling issues. You understand, you learn. If you are a board member, you know the boundaries. This is where you can reach, this is the operation side, and this is the oversight. So we make sure that everyone understands that, and it has worked well for us, can say. We have received trophies in terms of best in governance. So I think we are doing better. And the SACCO, the police SACCO, has been given also a trophy for being the best managed SACCO in the country. So we keep on improving on whatever we are doing. But we always talk to our members. They understand where we are going. If we want to do any project, we talk to our members to understand. They see the vision, where are we taking the SACCO? Because our vision is to empower our members for quality life. So they need to understand how will they participate in the running of the SACCO so that they can benefit at the end of it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the same question for Bwana Odhiambo. How do you safeguard your institution against, corruption, be it having corrupt dealings internally or being, like I said, collaborator or collateral damage for people who are actually doing illegitimate things, using their money through your institution?
Right. It reminds me of a bill that was there, I think, 2-3 years down the line, the special member, impact member, and that we could not really understand actually what was the reason, or rather, why was it coming in place, so that SACCOs would have special impact member. But that aside then, I think Chairman Kenya Police has stated it correctly. Currently, under the legal framework, there is an AML, anti-money laundering, the legislation that also requires SACCOs to register with financial reporting, the FRC, Financial Reporting Authority, so that you can be able to flag out those suspicious transactions and report them on a regular basis, so that they can also analyze them and see whether they are illicit funds that are being passed through the SACCO. Then moving to governance, I stated before, institutions are all about how they run and lead. And of course, the clients, or rather the stakeholders alike, including our members, also want to see that the institutions that have entrusted with their resources are run in a way that is in their best interest, not in the best interest of the management, not in the best interest of the board. And how do they see that? We should be able to look at that in the context of what kind of products and services are you offering, and how do they fit within their needs? And how are you able to offer those services without, a hitch? How do you provide information on a regular basis on the SACCOs, how they run? That is basically what we're incorporating in Mwalimu, that we need to provide information to our members as and when they need. If there are issues that probably they need to know, we need to be very open to them and tell them these are the issues we're facing, but what are we doing about them? I think that is the essence of what they want to hear. I remember we had that conversation when we had this issue of the bank that was all over the papers. But we said, we talked, rather engaged as a board, and we said, yes, we had this issue, but the most critical thing now is how do we engage stakeholders to understand that this is what we're doing. And I can tell you for free, this 1 year, I think no one actually has come up with those issues again. The confidence is back, and you can see our members are also engaging. Actually, they are like, this is now, the SACCO is back on the track. And I can tell you from the numbers that we have here, we can see some steady growth going. We are realizing some growth in terms of even the deposits, in terms of even however marginal it is. But there is a lot of aura in terms of the confidence. And that is what actually comforts us. But of course, we are not stopping there. The issue here is what else can we do that can make the SACCO to be more attractive to our membership? And how can we be able to package ourselves to the general public? Actually, in May, we even opened up. Initially, it used to be like a members club, the post-primary teachers. But now we are taking any other person that actually is on payroll or in a contract. We've seen the numbers grow. Actually, we ignored a segment of potential membership, which is the private institutions, and they're coming in numbers. Actually, as we speak from May, we are almost onboarding the 8th, and there are more coming. Today in the morning, I had a meeting with the TVETs. Of course, they have been part of a membership. But they're also asking us, can you come and pick some of these young tutors that are coming in? So that's basically how we look at it. And I want to repeat again, as you look at governance, you also have to look at the culture that supports that governance, because without the right culture, I mean, all those policies and the governance structures you put in place are nothing.
Okay.
So they must go together.
Okay. And I just want to get a round of closing comments as we come to an end of this discussion. In regards to savings and, you know, inspiring some sense of hope or better understanding on the aspect of savings for the public to appreciate it from where you sit.
For us, it's just to ensure that we have a robust and very dynamic digital system that's really able to reach out to all the savers out there. I think for me, it's quite important that people have access the channels they want to use. If you're in a certain age bracket and you feel comfortable going to the branch or going to an agent, are these services available there for you to be able to do that savings? So for me, it's just to ensure that as you put your goals, as you put your savings plan, what do I want to achieve? It has to be very clear in your mind as you start that journey. But for us is to offer that opportunity, to offer those channels. Let them be available, let them be affordable. I think most of the time is you'll find some channels may cost more. So it's just to find a channel that's more appealing to each individual. And also just to create a product that really appeals to the people. What are these incentives that are underlying this product? Okay. Are there monthly charges on the account? Is the account being depleted by monthly charges? So those are some of the key things that one has to look at, so that when you go for a certain product, when you want to save, you know you're saving and you'll get some money at the end of the day. And the interest rate is there and it's very attractive. Okay. In Postbank, that's what we normally do.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Very briefly, your closing remarks, Bona Mategwa.
Thank you so much. I want to tell Kenyans that when we talk of savings, we are not only talking for those people who are also on payroll. And those who are on payroll, it's not only to wait until it is deducted by employer. You can also, the money you get through, if you are a dairy farmer, you have some side hustles, those are the money you are supposed also to shoot to your circle through phone. You need to save that money, and that money, as you, Mr. Lekolol said, the money says, save me today, then I'll save you tomorrow. So we need to make sure that we do that for tomorrow so that we can live quality life. And closing on that, and I'm saying because some of our members are farmers, and sometimes we realize that there is maybe drought, the animals die, or the crops are not doing well. Okay. They need to bring that money. That is why tomorrow as Police Circle, we are planting 10,000 trees, just to that appeal from the government that we need to plant trees. We are planting 10,000 trees at the DCI headquarters, okay. And the chief guest will be the Minister for Cooperative and Small and Medium Enterprise, Mr. Honorable Chelukui.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And in closing for you, Mr. Odhiambo.
All right, for me is all about demonstrating to our clientele what is in it for them. I mean, as we rally, we have a rallying call in terms of them, I mean, putting in more money. What is it that you can demonstrate that brings them value? If we are able to demonstrate that, then of course the issue of savings actually will be able to, increase in our coffers. One of the things that I would want to actually throw in there is that as we walk this journey, we must be very truthful. And truthful in the sense that if we are talking about giving promises, then we must give promises that are realistic. That's when our clientele will be able to trust you more. That's when we'll be able to bring in more cash. And as Chair has put it, us as the Mwalimu Sacco, we are now on what you call a deposit mobilization, drive. Okay. And our members actually are bringing all manner of deposits, and actually we are trying to synthesize them so that they know what options we have.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being part of this great discussion on this commemoration of the World Savings Day. I've had in studio Raphael Lekolol, who's the Managing Director of Postbank, David Mategwa, the Chairman of the Kenya Police Sacco, and Kenneth Odhiambo, the Chief Executive Officer of Mwalimu Sacco. And some very key points there, and one of the most recent ones said in this discussion is, your money is telling you, save me today, and I'll save you later. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dan Mongi. Have yourselves a great evening.